Hello and welcome to the second in VR Uncensored Talks number 5, SXR Beyond Trends. I'm very excited about tonight because we are presenting this event to you guys in our brand new world, and I really hope that you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed creating it. So, tonight we will learn how multisensory technologies and extended reality can enhance our sexual well-being, how therapists and sexologists use XR for their practices, and how can we integrate technology into a healthy sex life. And we're going to look into what is the future of sexual wellness and extended reality. Tonight, we have a mind-blowing lineup of disruptive innovators who are revolutionizing how sexual health is being perceived in those exciting ways, and answer these questions and share with you their groundbreaking work and research. Our first presenter of tonight is an amazing startup called VulVR. They're creating and curating interactive transmedia content that explores female sexual education, health, and pleasure. With content made by and with those who identify as women, VulVR delivers playful, compelling, informative, and accessible content that empowers women to take control of their sexuality and well-being. Please welcome Sarah Ticho, Indira Knight, and Dr. Jessica Stone.
Hello, hi there everyone. First of all, thank you so much to Angelica and I'm sorry, Angelina, how rude of me, and all the team that have put together this amazing event. Like I've honestly never been in such an amazing world in VR before. So yeah, big props to them. So yes, we are VulVR. We are an interdisciplinary group of researchers that, as we said, are developing a WebVR experience designed to empower women to explore sexuality and sexual health. And so we're really interested in working in the intersections of clinical psychology and design to create an immersive experience that is therapeutic and also has some educational value as well. We do have some slides. I don't know if they are available. We can wing it otherwise. I'll just keep talking for now. So just to, that's all right. Hey, awesome. This is also a great piece of artwork by an artist that we've been working with called Rosie Summers, who has been doing some amazing work with us recently to create some different VulVR artwork in tilt brush. But yeah, so just as a little bit of an introduction, so my name is Sarah Ticho. I've been working across therapeutic VR in a few different guises over the last few years, and I'm very excited about this intersection of arts, health, and immersive technology. So I'm also the founder of an organization called Hatsumi that are developing an arts-based VR experience around enabling people to communicate the embodied experience of pain and mental health conditions through 3D drawing, and also work on another VR project called Explore Deep, which is a breath-controlled VR experience. But I've worked with Indira and Jessica, and we've been in similar circles over the years and have come together to work together on this. And so, Indira, perhaps I'll pass over to you to introduce yourself as well. Next slide as well, please.
Yep, my name's Indra, and I'm a design researcher and a creative technologist, and I have an interest in VR and doing VR research, and also web VR.
And Jessica?
My name is Dr. Jessica Stone. I am a clinical psychologist in the United States, and I have been talking about and utilizing a variety of digital tools, including everything in XR for, oh goodness, 6-7 years now, actually in my practice with my clients. And I am the co-creator of a program called the Virtual Sand Tray, which is a projective technique for use in therapeutic sessions. And I am excited to be here and to talk about this really important topic that has affected a lot of my clients.
Awesome. Yeah, I think what we'll do first is we'll start by just talking about some of the therapeutic applications of XR, and then what we'll do is then go on to talk about what we're doing with VulVR and some of the research as well that we've been undertaking.
All right, so I'm up first. Thank you everybody for being here. And I just want to give you a little background on the clinical pieces of this. Of course, it's going to be pretty darn quick, but we all know that there are uses of VR and entertainment. We've probably all played many games within our VR headsets, and And then there's also education, teaching, training, all of that VR is really exploding in those areas. One of the other important areas is in the clinical realm. And of course, for me, that's mental health. And there's also medical. There's amazing things being done at, say, Cedars-Sinai with Dr. Spiegel and Dr. Burkhead through the virtual medicine program that they have going on there. If you have interest in that, go ahead and look them up. They're doing fantastic things. In the mental health realm, we have people like Dr. Skip Rizzo and Dr. Walter Greenleaf and Dr. Mel Slater, Dr. Valentino Micheli in Italy. I mean, people are just doing some phenomenal things. And Sarah and I actually met up through social media and just had common interest. And then I was able to go to England last October and meet up with her in person. And we started talking about some of the other needs that are really important for the use of VR in a clinical way. In my practice, I have a number of adult clients who come in and even some older teens who come in, and they have either been through the experience of having a lot of questions that they haven't been comfortable to get answered. They have had sexual trauma that is difficult for them to work through, either to talk about or to have the other person imagine and understand what it is they've been through, or even to work through some of the things that they need to move forward in that process of what they've experienced. And so for me, this project is really important because I'm hoping that we can provide for women any and all, if that's possible. I know that's a huge task, but ways to seek information in comfortable ways, and also maybe even to work through some of that content that will allow them to do things like one of my clients needed to feel very empowered, and we used a boxing VR program so that she could gain some of her power and strength back. It'd be really nice if we had programs like that that were really geared for women in these situations. And I could just keep going on with numerous examples, but I hope that one of the things that's going to come out of these types of environments is that there's attention paid to ways for people to get information in a comfortable way, and then also to work through what they need to in a way that really fits for them. So thank you.
And yeah, and going back to this discussion, like how these discussions first began as well, I think, you know, a lot of this first discussion actually began at somebody in the audience's house like over a year ago, and there was a group of women working in VR here in the UK, and I think we were going to various networking events and realized that we didn't really want to network anymore and drink rubbish wine and pay to travel across London, when really it's quite nice to just hang out. And I think it was at a point where at least I personally was feeling very disillusioned with trying to get a therapeutic VR startup off the ground. And I think, you know, even when you look at who the really successful clinical psychologists and researchers are in VR, they're people like Skip Rizzo and Walter Greenleaf and Brennan Spiegel and Mel Slater. And even when I was speaking to someone the other day and I asked them, you know, who do you think is doing the most interesting stuff in this field? And it was all white men. And I do definitely think that there is a desperate need for women to be innovating in this space, and we do need to have a real diversity of voices coming together, because, you know, this stuff is really happening and it's super exciting. But again, it's people that are coming from, you know, certain types of privilege, including like economic privilege as well. Like, you know, it's a real privilege to be even able to afford a VR headset. Anyway, I digress. And so it actually started as just a bit of a joke, and I was like, well, who's making money in VR right now? And it's the porn industry, right? And so I was like, oh, maybe you could just do some VR porn, and that can be a way of sort of self-sustaining. And then realized that actually there's something way more interesting here that is actually around coming at things from a different angle and enabling women to, you know, be the creators in this work as well, and having a new and unique approach, and just exploring the different silos as well, because I think there's so many different approaches to VR as well. There's the creative design and arts industry approach, and then there's the academic side, and then there's obviously the startup side as well. And it's like, how do we bring all of these things together? And I think that's why I'm really excited by what Raspberry Dream Labs are doing as well. And so our real aim is to be able to start to blur these lines between education, therapy, and entertainment to make accurate, relevant content that will both educate and empower women. And when we say women, we mean that, you know, in the most inclusive way possible. And so we want to work with people with lived experience to be able to collaborate and showcase the other work that people are doing. I think sometimes it can feel very competitive in the whole startup space. And actually, I love what's so many different. And there is some really exciting work. There's people like Sarah Hashkes doing just see reality, and who's doing some really awesome stuff out there. And God, like, the list could go on for sure. But I think, you know, there's a real opportunity to support each other. So so when we were just thinking about what our framework is for even how we approach this, then we started with thinking about what our values are. And so I'm just going to share a little bit about what our values are as we begin to create the content that we are working on at the moment. So our aim is really to empower women to take back control of our sexuality and well-being, and provide reliable routes to resources and support, to be open to ideas that challenge our perspective, and pledge to be honest about our own limitations as well. To listen to the voices of other people and make sure that that's incorporated into every stage of the design, and to strive to create information that is accurate and trusted, with rigorous research and expert guidance, which will underpin every element of our work and examine it for its validity for being published. And I think it's really this content that is led by design and research and people with lived experience, which is yeah, where our real intention is. And so we intend to release different chapters exploring different different subject areas within the lived experience of women. And so Indira now is going to share a little bit about the research that we've been doing so far, specifically around the menopause.
And this came about early on in discussions we started to have about what would the first project be for VulVR, what would we look at. And I remembered a weekend I went to away for a friend's 50th birthday. It was all women away for the weekend. And the subject of menopause just kept coming up over and over again throughout the weekend. And it was quite a negative experience for a lot of the women there. And I was just entering perimenopause, and I sort of felt, I want to know more. Some of the things women were telling me I had never heard about. But it also seemed so negative, and I didn't want to spend the next 4 or 5 years of my life feeling that negative. So I definitely was something I'd wanted to explore. But we also thought it could be start of a chapter on a hormonal journey of different projects that we do, maybe around puberty or transitioning. So it sort of fitted well in with that. And so then when we started to do research, as a design researcher, I always start with desk research. So started with desk research and then move on to interviews with experts and then to workshops. And it was really important, I think, this desk research to find out who the experts are, and then also find out what the current trends are in this area, and sort of just find out as much information as we can as possible. And then for me, it's really important that we work with people with lived experience and what they can bring. So they are also part of the expert group in this. So once we're just wrapping up with the desk research, and then we'll move on to workshops. And these workshops will include sort of exploratory workshops with people with lived experience to get more information. And also workshops, co-design workshops. So we work together with experts in the field, with experts from lived experience, and with designers as well. So as we're coming to sort of the end of the first phase of the desk research, it's been quite interesting, some of the topics that have come up. And I'll just share a couple with you. So sort of knew that menopause was the sort of fluctuation and lowering of estrogen and progesterone in women over a number of years until periods stopped. But what I found interesting is that looking online, there's a lot of different symptoms around menopause, but it seems like only a few people are sort of relating to the lowering in hormone levels. So I was very interested in that and wanted to find out more about that. What I found interesting was how
societal attitudes towards menopause can affect women's experience. Ideas around including surgical menopause, how women's sexuality changes through this time, the commercialization, the way how we view ourselves, and I think all of these have sort of become sort of points that I hadn't necessarily thought of them all before, that seem quite interesting to explore further. So the next step with this, now we've got this research, is to run some workshops with people with lived experience to get some more input from them, and with experts as well, and then we will start to sort of sketch out ideas of what we could produce in VR around menopause. Back to Sarah.
Amazing, thank you so much. And so it's quite fun and bizarre talking about a project which in some ways we don't even totally know what it looks like yet, but it's been so enjoyable already just going through this process of seeing what information is available, and almost more importantly what information isn't available, and why is there this huge data gap alongside all these other issues around the orgasm gap, and like treatment gaps as well, and lack of understanding. And so yeah, I think we're all just really excited to begin using our experience from being in this industry to really channel it into this new project. And yeah, really would invite you guys, if you do want to be a part of it. I mean, it's probably not very helpful when you're in VR, but this is the link to just a form. So if you would be interested in being part of our workshops and focus groups, then we would love for you to be involved. And like we say, we really want a diversity of people with experiences, and it will just be an opportunity to get together and explore some of these questions as well. So that's just a little bit of a teaser of what's to come. And if you do have any questions, then please feel free to reach out, and we'd be really interested to talk to you about it and have your feedback as well. So thank you so much everyone for listening.